So it's Friday, it's me, Paul Ross, it's Van Connor with his 1, 2, 3 top Freeview film recommendations, and being Halloween weekend, nary a romantic comedy in sight, nor indeed a western. Good morning, Van. How have you been, mate? I've been looking forward to this. How you doing, Van?
Oh, good, Mr. Ross. How goes it on your end, sir?
Very well indeed, and you're starting film 4 tonight, 10 minutes to 11. A remake of a rather fine film first time around. Not quite as good as the book the first time around. I've yet to see the remake from 2019. Tell us a bit about Pet Sematary, spelt with an S, of course.
Well, I can tell you that the remake of Pet Sematary, again, is nowhere near as good as the movie, but nowhere near as good as the book. I mean, what possibly can? But this was almost worth remaking purely to get John Lithgow in there. So John Lithgow takes over the Fred Gwynne role in this. It is basically the classic story, the classic Stephen King riff on the classic story of burying the dead pet in the ancient Indian burial ground that happens to be behind the house, only for the pet to come back, but it's not quite right. And then what happens when the family, the young child of the family tragically dies and is buried in the same ground? This stars
Let me take a crazy guess. It's not going to end well, that kind of solution, is it, to child mortality?
Funnily enough, given the season, no, this is not going to end well. So it stars Jason Clarke from Zero Dark 30. You can find this on Film 4 tonight. As you say, like I say, it's worth it. It's a good, solid remake. But I think the reason to see this above all else is John Lithgow, who's never less than wonderful to enjoy on screen. I've got a clip for you of Jason Clarke as the small town doctor, the family patriarch, unveiling his resurrected child to his, understandably horrified wife.
Here we go. Then it's Pet Sematary. It's tonight, 10 to 11 on Film 4. Enjoy.
What's going on?
I wasn't ready to say goodbye to her.
You're scaring me. Just tell me what you're talking about.
It was my fault she died. I had to bring her back. There's a place rage deep in the woods. Beyond the Pet Cemetery. Brings things back.
Are you happy, Mommy?
Hug your daughter.
I like the sound of that one. I'll set record for that one. Okay, so that's Pet Sematary, the remake, 2019. It was the year it was released at 10:50 tonight. I've gone for one of my favourite black and white 1950s horror-type films, directed by the master, Jacques Tourneur, who made all kinds of film with Val Lewton. This is Night of the Demon, filmed in this country. Dana Andrews is in it, or Dana Andrews, as the Yanks say, from 1957, and it's based on a short story by that very scary writer. If you love ghost stories, folks, and you've never read M.R. James's collection, Ghost Stories of an Antiquary, I urge you to get a hold of it. Some brilliant, scary stories in that. This is one of them. And basically, it's about devil worship. It's about an American guy stumbling into that world. It's about people passing curses on. There was a bit of a concern that Jacques Tourneur didn't want to show the demon. I'm sure you know this, Van. And the studio insisted on sticking it in. And, it's just a great big kind of... But you don't need to... It's much better if you don't see the demon. And I hope they show tonight on the Horror Channel, which is a brilliant channel. Sorry, this afternoon, 1 p.m. this afternoon. I hope they show the British version, which is about 95 minutes long. The Americans cut about 10 minutes out of it, and bits of it are hard to follow with that. But it's a very disturbing, scary story indeed. It kind of gets inside your head. So if you've not seen it, do yourself a favour. I haven't got the trailer, because I've outlined the plot, but it's Night of the Demon. It's about trying to avoid curses, about people dying in hideous, mysterious circumstances. Brilliantly shot and acted as well. And it's an absolute cracker. This afternoon, 1 o'clock. It's my first horror recommendation. And you are going for the biggie, Halloween itself on Halloween weekend, Van Connor, for Saturday night.
Well, how do you not this time of year? I mean, it's the one movie I'm guaranteed to revisit every Halloween, because it's the seminal one, John Carpenter's iconic, basically genre-defining 1978 slasher film starring it's absolute star-making turn for a young Jamie Lee Curtis. And this is, of course, the world's introduction to the killer, who's literally now still in cinemas at this exact moment, Michael Myers, complete with that, legendary white William Shatner platinum mask, and this is the night he came home. This is the very first time audiences were treated to Michael Myers returning to the town of Haddonfield on a killing spree. This is on Film 4 tonight at 5 to 11. Saturday night at 5 to 11. I think it's the perfect way to go into Halloween by watching Halloween. I've got a clip for you of the iconic Donald Pleasance giving that infamous speech about the very first time he met the serial killer who is Michael Myers.
No one does menace and fear and horror better than Donald Pleasance. Here we go.
I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left. No reason, no conscience, no understanding, and even the most rudimentary sense of life or death, of good or evil, right or wrong. I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up, because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
Which is nice to know. Good to know for Halloween. What lived behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
I don't know. Have you seen Halloween Kills? Have you had the pleasure of Halloween Kills?
Not yet. No, not. In fact, I was hoping to catch it this weekend. I'm not going to be able to now, but I do fancy seeing. And there's a third one on the way, I think, isn't there? Did you enjoy it? Was it good?
I mean, the film, regardless of what you think, I wasn't a big fan of the film, but there was a wonderful effect in it where they have seemingly brought Donald Pleasance back. Oh. And I think this was the whole big thing everyone was talking about. It was all assumed that they had just done a Rogue One and gone and CG mapped over someone and they just digitally recreated it. And it's all makeup effects. And you can look this up online. They have literally used makeup effect and created the most perfect facsimile of Donald Pleasance. So convincing that I thought it had to have been created with state-of-the-art digital effects. It's not. Look it up. It's honestly fascinating.
Okay, now you've gone for Film 4 tonight, tomorrow night, 5 to 7 at John Carpenter Classic, that kickstarted his career, made a fortune. I've gone for my Saturday recommendation, another John Carpenter Classic, which I marginally prefer, a remake, sort of. It's from 1982, on the Horror Channel again at 9 o'clock. The Horror are going gangbusters tomorrow. From 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, folks, they are showing, in this order, the Universal Classics. 1 o'clock, the original Dracula, followed by Frankenstein, followed by the masterpiece Bride of Frankenstein, followed by Wolfman, ending with Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. And if you're not horrored out, then 9 o'clock tomorrow night, it's Kurt Russell's finest hour. Even better than Escape to New York and Big Trouble in Little China. It's The Thing. You know the story. They're up there in... Well, they're down there, up there, I can't remember where, Antarctica or the Arctic. They find a big thing in the ice, they let the big thing out, it thaws down, and it can enter, impersonate, recreate human beings or huskies. No one is safe. Anyone could be hiding the thing. Here's the trailer.
12 men have just discovered something. For 100,000 years, it was buried in the snow and ice. Now it has found a place to live. Inside. Where no one can see it, or hear it, or feel it.
I know I'm human. Some of you are still human. This thing doesn't want to show itself. It wants to hide inside an imitation. It'll fight if it has to, but it's vulnerable out in the open. If it takes us over, then it has no more enemies. Nobody left to kill it. And then it's won.
You guys gonna listen to Gary? He can beat one of those things!
I mean, I do love that film, if love's the right word. It's a cracking movie. I don't think it did huge business when it came out, did it? But it's a real absolute must-watch, I think, that one. And, of course, on Sunday, the Horror Channel is also going gangbusters. They're showing from Sunday afternoon onwards The Creature from the Black Lagoon, the original Invisible Man, starring, I think, Claude Rains from 1933 or 34, and Boris Karloff as the Mummy. But my recommendation is another Halloween film. I think an underrated one. Nothing to do with Michael Myers, this one. It's from, I think, 1982 as well. It's called Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. And basically, again, it's about evil, devil worship, old mythologies, and a plot to somehow, on a murderously huge scale, kill loads of American children via a mask and a TV commercial. So it's a very dark and funny satire, this film. It blew me away the first time I saw it, because I went along expecting to see Michael Myers for the third time around. Did you enjoy this film? I think people forget it's actually a very funny film, this one, as well as being scary.
Absolutely. I think the remit with this one was to try and repurpose the Halloween series into an anthology franchise instead, that this would have been the first move towards that. Tom Atkins, I think, is great fun in the lead. Yeah. Tom Atkins is like horror royalty. Now, this is a movie that's, I think, gained retrospective reevaluation and reappreciation, especially since DVD.
Yeah.
Since DVD, this seems to have, like on Her Majesty's Secret Service, seems to have gained a lot more appreciation in the modern era than in its own time. I actually think it's a very undervalued film. And like you say, that twinge of streak of comedy that runs through it is quite surprising, but actually quite effectively done.
Marvellous stuff. That's 11:15 then Sunday night on Film 4. It's Halloween 3. Must be the season of the witch.
Trick or treat, trick or treat. Hey, Mr. Cochran, just what is the final process?
Fellas, I was just kidding.
Witchcraft. To us, it was a way of controlling our environment.
Hey!
Where are they taking her?
They're taking her to the factory.
I want a mask. Can I have a mask?
Just what I had in mind for you, little buddy. Why, Cockers? Why? Do I need a reason?
I've got nothing here to indicate there was ever a body at all.
Operator, this is an emergency.
I do love a good joke, and this is the best ever. The joke on the children. I'm glad you'll be able to watch it.
You've got to believe me.
They're going to kill us. All of us.
Stop it!
The world's going to change tonight, Doctor. Happy Halloween.
Stop it!
It takes us back to the old Celtic roots of Halloween. Sam Hain, there's a speech in it, when the hills were drenched with blood. So there we go. That's my final Halloween recommendation. Film 4 Sunday night, 11:15. And you've gone for a BBC Two offering slightly earlier. What We Do in the Shadows. Tell us about this one, Van, finally.
So I don't know if you've had the pleasure of this, because this is now a whole franchise of its own. Yeah, great horror mockumentary from 2014, directed by Taika Waititi, who was nowhere near the commodity 7 years ago that he is now. I mean, this guy's in the doing a second Marvel movie, as we speak, I think, right now. And this stars Jermaine Clement, Taika Waititi himself, and starts off the franchise mockumentary about a group of a house of New Zealand-based vampiric roommates, effectively, who've been roommates for, I think, about a century. The TV show follows a similar coven based in Staten Island in New York, and the characters do cross over, so you can keep this going. And it is them talking to camera and taking you through this documentary setup, explaining what life is like for New Zealand-based vampires. It is absolutely hilarious. It involves werewolves, not squarewolves, and all sorts of weird and wonderful types of creatures. I've got a clip for you of largely Jermaine Clement leading this charge, but this is a riff on that famous scene from The Lost Boys in which they turn the spaghetti on the dinner plates into worms, in which they try to suss out whether or not their would-be dinner guests / victims are in fact virgins. So in this clip, you'll hear, whenever you can't hear the background noise, that's them talking to camera. And I've chosen this clip because it features, in my opinion, not only the best line of the movie, not only the best line of Taika Waititi's career today, but I think one of the best lines of any comedy in the past 10 years. So this is what We Do in the Shadows on BBC Two, 11:15 on Sunday night. And I think it's the perfect combination of horror and comedy for this Halloween. Cannot recommend highly enough that you check it out.
Here we go.
Nick, are you a virgin at all?
What?
Doesn't seem like... Are you a virgin?
Yes.
No.
You were a virgin when we were seeing each other?
Yeah, I was 12.
You said he was a virgin.
I think we drink virgin blood because it sounds cool.
I think of it like this. If you were going to eat a sandwich, you would just enjoy it more if you knew no one had it.
Let's concentrate on Josephine then.
Are you a virgin?
I'm not, no.
Okay, I'm really sorry, because I totally pinned her as a virgin.
She looks like a virgin. She talks like a virgin. I mean, who would have sex with her? I wouldn't.
I would.
So a kind of hysterical note to end Halloween on there. While we're in that's a great choice of yours, man. While we're in laughter mode, remind us how we can hear later on this morning. I think you and Rebecca Perfect, Bex from our Monday show, in Off Screen, your definitive podcast.
Yeah, you can hear us talking about Last Night in Soho, Antlers, Army of Thieves, Passing, all the good stuff coming your way cinematically for the next week on podcast platforms from 6 a.m. today. So 6 a.m. every Friday on podcast platforms, your ultimate guide to everything movies for the next 7 days, including Freeview streaming the works.
Brilliant stuff, all wrapped up in a fantastic bow by Rebecca Perfect and Van Connor. Half a dozen Freeview film recommendations for your Halloween weekend. Up next, though, we're talking to the Met Office about what the weather's going to be like for game day weekend. We've got rugby, we've got football, and the Met Office are on the way after this.